the United States is definitely not acting in its own interests. It's acting in the interests not of the people of the United States or the people of the world, but on behalf of giant corporations and lobbying groups. The United States knows full well, as does Israel, that Israel is on a daily basis violating international law, and by supporting Israel's violation of international law, the United States itself is thumbing its nose at international law. Any intelligent person with common sense knows that oppressing another people simply because they do not belong to a particular religion or ethnic group is always going to be a cause of violence in the world, or at least resistance. And in the Palestinian case, it's mostly nonviolent resistance with pockets of violent behavior that are certainly understandable given the oppression, although I don't condone the violence. And so for the United States to act in the best interests of AIPAC, the Israel lobby, and a very right-wing government of Israel that is very jingoistic in its attitude, very warlike, is a great detriment not only to the citizens of the United States economically and in terms of morality. Absolutely it does. For example, let's just take the Middle East. Let's just take the Arab Muslim world. You know, the Arab Muslim world prior to American blind support for Israel used to look up to the United States as a beacon of democracy, as a country where people could live in freedom, especially when they, especially in places like Saudi Arabia, lived under a totalitarian government. So they don't understand why a country that claims to be the beacon of democracy in the history of the world would, for example, support a totalitarian dictatorship like Saudi Arabia and would support Israel's oppression of the Palestinian people and violation of international law. So in the same sense, now that the world, through the Internet, through the Arab Spring, now that the world is more and more people, billions of more people, or at least hundreds of millions, are becoming more and more aware of what is going on in the world through Facebook, through Twitter, through the Internet, they see the injustices that are being perpetrated daily. And for the one superpower in the world that claims that it is the standard bearer for freedom and democracy to support oppression and brutality is so hypocritical and delegitimizes both the United States and Israel. So people are wising up, and they're starting to say, hey, we want peace. We don't want the United States to continue creating the conditions in the world so that extremist groups will pop up in reaction to state-sponsored terrorism on the part of Israel, supported by the United States and their weaponry.